Pam pam pam. Are we live or not? Let's check it out. How do I even check it out? Okay, my channel probably. Here I am. Do I even have sound? Are we live or not? Okay, let's check it out. I think I should apply something to this camera next time, but okay. Anyways, this is a new capture card from Amazon. Here I am feeding my Sony Alpha 6400. And it seems that audio is also live. Maybe I will put a bit more gain and so on. Let me look at the chat too. Great. Hi guys, thanks for joining me for this session. The camera is there, my monitors are here, so I will try to speak to you directly as much as possible, but I will look down here to follow my thoughts and basically show you things within the editor and things like that. The format is a rather free format. I'm experimenting with streaming, honestly. But I wanted to take this opportunity to share some details about our Kickstarter campaign, Vision 1, how Grid Series 3 is coming together, and yeah, that's what I'm going to do in the next hour or so, throughout my small presentations and sharing these details with you. If you have any questions, use this YouTube chat, or I think I'm even on Discord right now, so I would prefer to if you would use YouTube, because I can follow that easier. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions while I'm at it. Okay, a lot has been going on at Intech Studio lately. We have like a couple huge developments which have been started like a year ago or so. These includes the packages, package management, and all the new integrations which we have been working on. Probably you joined us earlier. If you joined us earlier, we have been a fully audio-focused company, create the best MIDI controllers like ever. I hope my focus will follow these movements. This is one of the Grid Series 3 PBF4 unit with the new mechanical key switches. But yes, audio company, we have been building these modular controllers, snapping together through magnets, and that was primarily targeted towards musicians and audio people. But yeah, the very same control elements can be used to like control photo editing software, video editing software, and so on. And the question is how we will solve these problems, how we will control those softwares, and our solution to that is the package system introduced to the editor. I'm quickly hopping onto this other scene and look at the editor, and I will try to find the module. Hope they work, because I just grabbed them from the studio. And this one looks fine to me, although the LEDs are whatever. Okay. To my cat, saying hello to my cat. I'm not sure about the delay on the stream, so sorry if I even have a message that the stream has the bitrate. Yeah, whatever, I can't do anything about the bitrate. My cat, yeah, she's crying somewhere, but I think my girlfriend will take care of her. She will come here when she finds the time. Okay, let's move into the editor, and I will show you one of the more broken examples which we have been working on. I mean, broken example is that I will literally show you a work in progress development thingy, and I will show you how me, a tester in this case, can try out a work in progress package, which is the Lightroom package to control Adobe Lightroom. So first, in the editor left panel, here we have the package manager side, and there are already some packages, but Lightroom is not here because it's not finished yet. But if I go to the GitHub, our open source repository for everything Intech Studio, I can look up among our projects. Probably I see more projects than you because I have access for the private repositories too, but most of our integrations are open sourced, and they can be checked out in detail. So what I'm going to do is search for Lightroom here, and there is package Lightroom Classic. These are some of the development details I shared with our developer, and I'm just copying here the URL, go to the editor, and then come to the packages part, open up this, let me hit escape, open up this plus sign, and here I can copy paste the URL for this repository. I'm going to add it. Okay, it's added, and I'm going to hit download. Now the Lightroom package is downloaded, but as a work in progress thing, this package manager has to be restarted before I can access actually the Lightroom package. I just noted this issue throughout my preparations for this stream because it just should work right away. Okay, and my Lightroom package says that it's already connected. Why is that? Because within Lightroom, I already added through the plugin manager the grid editor plugin. This is basically the package folder itself, and the package folder installed through the editor has the Lightroom plugin. I pointed at this file, and it's automatically identified by Lightroom. It says that it's enabled and it's here, and I can just hit done. Cool. No errors, so far so good. The thing is with all these integrations is that we have our own editor side package manager, which will create like a communication layer between the editor software and your target application. So for example, all of these modules can send out keyboard messages I sound a bit cool. All of these units can send out serial messages, MIDI messages, then keyboard, gamepad, mouse messages, all of these native things. But these have to be translated in some way to be actually usable and make these details understandable for the target software. So in this case, we are using editor as a background running application, like a translation layer, to bridge between the Intech Studio controllers and those apps. Usually, a practice is that within a package, we will try to provide everything needed to actually run your workflow and get started as easy as possible. Okay, here we only have this Lightroom package activated. It has like a really small notice that okay, it's working, and let's actually see what I can do beside this. I will quickly clear my module configuration because I'm not sure what was uploaded to it. Okay, and I have by default all of the MIDI settings here. For Grid to work well with MIDI, we have a very advanced dynamic layout calculation thing going on. This is often scary for new users or those who are not familiar with coding, and we totally get that. We are in the progress of making more streamlined and easier action blocks. Action blocks are the little things which you can see here and build your configurations and give people a bit easier onboarding journey. What you already have here, even though what you can already see here, even though I resetted the module, is something needed for our default MIDI configurations. The modules are plug-and-play MIDI devices, so they will work in Logic, Ableton, any MIDI-capable software or hardware, basically. And when, for example, you buy like 2 of our EN16 units, and you want to use these 2, then how can you say by default for these units to have different CC and channel assignments? In order to do so, we are using Lua scripting behind the scenes, and based on the module, the plugged-in module position, the other modules will figure out what kind of CC and channel assignments should be done. This is way too complicated for many use cases outside of the MIDI world, so we are working now on making this simpler and use our own tools already existing within the editor to make this a bit more user-friendly and beginner-friendly. So, for example, here what I can actually do is just delete this MIDI block because I don't need that. The LED intensity block is responsible to set the LED brightness when I'm using the encoder event. So when I'm rotating the encoder, basically, it uses the number, which is a reference for the actual index of the element, and value, which is read in from the encoder. I can also delete these because I just don't need them. I have my index reference, the encoder value that's used within this. Oh, maybe this module is not good after all. It's like blinking one of the, no, not sure if you can actually see this, especially in my small scale, but let me see if it actually sends out messages and it's just the LEDs are wrong. Yeah, I think there is either the USB or something else. I think I will stick to it still and see if I can find any other issues with it, and I can let the others know at the team that this module has some problem and they can fix it. Okay, I actually activated within the package manager the Lightroom package, and when I activate a package, if that package has some custom action blocks, then it will pop up in this action browser. So for example, I can access this either between the action blocks or as an add action block. And I want to just quickly show you a develop control setting for this EN16. I have added this develop control action block, and I can look for example, most of the parameters basically from the develop panel, which is given to us from the Lightroom API. Then overall exposure for now, let's hit store, and I go over to Lightroom, and it can already send out data, but it's sending out increments of 1, even though, and I'm just rotating it a tiny bit, and that's a problem. But we can fix that because Grid is very customizable, and these little details, how the values should be read in from the module and what kind of scaling should be applied, can be overwritten with basic math calculations like divisions, multiplications, things like that. So for in my case, I will come here, I will add in an encoder mode block, I will enable the minimum and maximum value, because I just saw in Lightroom that when I'm, even though I'm rotating to the far left, I can't go down with the values. That's because the encoder minimum and maximum is between 0 and 127 by default. This is the MIDI specification default. So we come from the MIDI world, and that's why most of the default settings are MIDI related. Then change this to -100 and +100. Okay, and let's close this. And I think this will solve the part that I can go negative or positive. So far so good, but I want smaller increments. And for that, I can either add in a new local calculation or come here directly to make a division, like divide the encoder value by 100, and this value used by the Lightroom action block will pick up this change, but in that case the LED number would also pick up that change. So instead of changing the source value, I will just come here and change this value. Store changes, and now I have a much finer tuning option for Lightroom. Still, for this exposure control, I would need to look up the manual to build out my profile, to have the fine-tuned negative and positive values, the resolution of the control, and things like that. But that will be done by our team. We already have Lightroom and Photoshop profile in the works, and we have showcased that one on the London Photo Videography show at Excel in March. So we are not going to give you like a zero configuration thing to get started. There will be starting points to apply your saturation controller or exposure controller, things like that. Another bit of detail which complicates things with grid is that our control surface has a lot of different control element options, and I mean by that, if you look at competitor products like the Stream Deck, in these use cases at least, like the Stream Deck or Loop Deck or Monogram or whatever the controller is, in those cases it's mostly about buttons and on-off states or encoders. In our case, we have to make sure that we can give a great experience by using these smaller encoders which can be pushed, and then we do have these larger jogs which work and act a bit differently, and also the linear control elements, these analog controls with absolute positioning, or the potentiometers. In order to be able to apply some controls to the very different elements, we designed grid to be very permissive in your configurations and get down low into the coding part as well, because that was the way we found in the long run at least the easiest way to solve advanced workflow challenges. But yeah, that also on the other hand introduces complexity, which is always a bit of a hindrance for new customers. Okay, let me see some of your questions. When the Intech editor is working in the background, is it selectable in the top bar menu? if it's working in the background. I think we disabled that to be able to show it. Let me go back to my screen. So for example, here in this case, if I'm going to shut down the editor, you can see that it was it stopped working fully, and it also closed itself from the dock. Most of the applications on macOS don't work like that. For example, if I open up Visual Studio Code and I hit X, it will be an open application. On Windows, and I think in Linux too, if you close an application, it is usually terminated for good. On Mac, it's a bit different story. In the editor, we do have a setting in preferences which changes this behavior, but I have to find where that is, and it's here. Run application in the background. I think I have to move my thing a bit here. So let me make editor a bit smaller. Let's close Lightroom because close it. Don't want this. The Logic plugin is corrupted. That's nice to hear. Oh, Photoshop, that's cool. We'll check that later. My notes. Okay, I don't want this. Okay, so here we have the editor. I opened up the preferences with this cogwheel. Right under general settings, go down and run application in the background. Here are two settings. Keep the application running on the tray or dock. This is a reference to that on macOS we have here the dock, and on Windows there is the tray. So if I change this to keep it running in the background, from the other setting which was close when I hit the close, I think it should stay there, and it stayed there. So in this case, my packages will be up and running in the background, but it's not added to the top bar. We could add it here, but did not see the purpose of it, because for most settings, you would have to come to the package manager anyway, at least in the foreseeable future. The package manager was born first with a very cool package called the Active Window, which we are not talking enough about, I think, but it has very clever settings. So first of all, if I pull it up, then I can see it that the active window currently is editor. If I open up my activity monitor, then I assume it's rather tiny on the stream, but it says that we are on activity monitor. If I come back to the editor, I could say that the first page should be triggered and activated when I open up activity monitor. And here I already have a saving for Trello. And I will check if it works now, and it works. So let me come here closer. This is page 2, the normal with the normal LED colors. This is like when I open the Trello, and if I come over, it changed to the page 1. So come back here, Trello, loaded another page, activity monitor, loaded another page. Within Grid, pages they're a bit hard to grasp, because between pages you can lose state for controls. It's like a really separate configuration memory space. When you switch to a new page, there you have a lot of configuration freedom, and under the events and action blocks you can do your own thing differently from another page. And yeah, it's like a workspace on Grid. It's often confused with other MIDI controllers or other controllers, mostly MIDI, when it comes to preset banks or preset settings, because people often assume that there is in the background already like like a memory recall function or something like that. And people assume that, okay, I'm on page 1, I do my changes, I will come back to the first scene. I should have applied like one of my controllers to actually change the scenes next time. Okay, so for example, I make my changes and turn my LEDs all the way up on page 1, and I go over to another page. I again do some of my changes, and when I come back to page 1, I would assume that I have all of my previous settings available. And this is a feature we are actually working on to make it happen, but we still have some way to get there to give everyone this feature. And because of this state losing, or that's often the case when people switch pages, can be confusing for grid users when they come from a different controller. But anyway, with this active window package, you can either change pages like this, but there is another way you can trigger changes within a single page. This is my Discord community coding users probably, but we will also make use of these options in the future with starter profiles, and we will slowly explain how these things can be used and changed. So let me show you this in action. If I change the active window package to use callback mode and go to the configurations, and for example here I think just delete everything for the sake of demonstration. I could use either button encoder or or both one of these events. And what I can do here is add this function action block, which you probably never used, but here is a thing which you can use it for. Active window param, and add a code block. Let me change the scene. Print hello and param commit. Yeah, it works. That's cool. And why do I see it? It works. That within my debug monitor, I can see that beside hello on the parameter, the actual page, the title of the application is shown. This active window thingy is undocumented, but we just have to add like here a small code snippet or explanatory link how this works. The idea is that you don't have to change the whole page of the module, but you can do your own configurations reactively to these application changes and do cool stuff with it. I think I'm not the most creative mind right now, but I could say that if param, and param could be anything, it's just a parameter for to consume the active window arguments. If it's Trello, then LED color 0, layer 2, 255. This is the RGB values like this, and say it end. I think I can hit commit. Very nice. And I hope if I turn it here, then the first LED, not sure if it's the left or right one, should turn to red, and fingers crossed. Nothing happened. Or did? Oh, it happened. I just picked the wrong color because it's so hard to see. Let me change it to RGB. It's blue. So blue. Yeah. And now if I activate Trello application, Yeah, that's a blue. Very nice. Success. Okay, so this is the part about packages and the active window options, that either you can activate fully separate profiles by changing the pages by using this original mode. You can load different profiles to the different pages from the profile cloud or your own. And if you don't want to actually change the page, you can just listen to the changes coming from this package and act on it. Yes, let me open up the chat. Okay. For now, how do you program interactive content in the vision screen? I will show the vision screen shortly. Okay, how do you translate the Lua from Grid Editor to Control, Spotify, or Lightroom? So a bit of a story about Spotify. We actually have like this small Spotify application right here. Let me close active window. Let's get out with you. Here is my Spotify package, which works nicely. It can even seed the album art of your currently played track and things like that. It's cool. It works in similar fashion like most desktop accessories are used, so you can like stop and continue playing, jump the track, or save it to your liked playlist. I love it. I can use it, but unfortunately Spotify's developer relations team is so slow, and we couldn't get like a direct contact yet to actually open up our Spotify integrations. There is like an issue where, although we have an open source project, Grid itself makes money, so it became commercial. So we have to get into an agreement with Spotify before we can actually ship this package to the masses, because right now I can give access to 50 people or so with their own email address, and yeah, that's not that ideal. So Spotify is although finished on our end, we can't release it yet because we are waiting for someone from Spotify to get in contact with. So if any of you have a Spotify contact, I would appreciate a shoot out to make this thing moving forward, because it's cool. You are making some general stuff with your controller, like using keyboard macro actions for desktop productivity things, and you just control directly Spotify. I think that's cool, but yeah, that's a work in progress thing. Okay, in layman terms, how does work Lua from Grid Editor to Spotify or Lightroom? Okay, what you see on the editor, let me open up one of the configuration parts. So here I have a module. On this module, everything is configured through Lua. Here I have all of my events, which is like an interaction with Grid. Grid has one passive interaction point when it's booting up and loads a page. When you load a page, the setup event will run, and everything is triggered, what is configured around the setup event. Then if you press a button and do your button presses, then as the editor jumps over, because we have here like this track setting to track the event or just the element, or you can even turn this off to manually click on things. You actually see that an interaction, an event trigger happened, and you can see the action blocks loaded in. If I'm rotating an encoder, then I will see the encoder rotation actions, which are repeated and ran when you interact with that event. If I come here to this little export button, I can see the Lua code itself, which is sent down to the module, and on the module this is stored, and all of the variables are evaluated during runtime. So the modules are configured with Lua code based on the Grid Protocol API made by the firmware developers. And the module then sends out serial messages or MIDI messages or keyboard, gamepad, those native control messages which you can configure even with action blocks. The editor can listen to the parsed serial messages and MIDI messages. So within the editor source code, we have like a message parser file, a message splitter file, which listens to the evaluated values sent to the editor back. You can actually see the MIDI monitor too in this case, that it evaluates the MIDI coming from the module. But the truth is, this is not a real MIDI monitor, just a parsed MIDI monitor or something like that, because the editor doesn't actually open up a MIDI port which you can connect to. Instead, it just checks the potentially configured MIDI messages within the MIDI monitor, and that's what you can see here. And these parsed data, which is coming back to the editor, is then sent out in whatever format you need them to your target applications. If you configure a control element with like the minimum and maximum settings, like I showed with the encoder block, or change it to the encoder mode or something like that, then in that case the parsed back messages will show these changes, and you really configure the base physical aspect of the element and how it should emit the values by default, and then you can take those values within a package itself, so within the Spotify package source code or the target application's own plugin, and split those messages however you need them to achieve your goals. We mostly try to configure the module's elements between a minimum, a maximum, set the velocity, set the resolution, set the physical part of the controls, and then try to make most of the changes within the realm of editor, because although this might seem more work for the user, but if the user learns some of these tricks, how to configure their modules and how to really utilize the nuances of Grid and its API, then those learnings can be applied to different areas, not just the same software, but you can have an easier path to apply your learnings from configurations to control Photoshop or Ableton or another creative application. So that's, in layman terms, or I hope in layman terms, how the Lua is sent to the packages. In short, Lua is not sent to the packages. Lua is used to configure the module's physical behavior, and based on that behavior, the emitted values are then sent out to the integrations through the package manager. Let me open this back up. Do you actively use Grid personally while working with Adobe? Yes and no. Me personally, I'm not on the team the largest Adobe user. I'm mostly into the music part and the general desktop accessory things, so using macros and gamepad controls and things like that. But my colleagues here in the chat, Shabo and also Barney, who made some of our YouTube videos, they're actively using Grid for Adobe workflows. So we try to split in the team who has what kind of strengths, and try to figure out internally first what makes sense, and after that we can really build the product out and share it with the broader audience. But as the development of the packages goes, because I have some insight into the technology as well, I use the modules and Grid to actually work with Adobe and get better with it. So when you select on close quit the application in the editor option instead, sorry, I'm trying to understand your question. So Giraton asked, when you select on close quit the application in the editor option instead, it means that the application will be closed, won't blink in the background, but still working in the background? No. If I select, let me go back to the preferences here quickly, general settings, and let me, yeah, it's visible. So if I hit here the on close quit the application, it will terminate everything running in the background. So everything running through the context of editor in the background. My CTO peer and others on the team are privacy concerned people, and tried to design the editor as privacy friendly as possible, and make it not too invasive. So in this case, if you just want to finish a configuration and get done with the editor, you use the modules probably with keyboard shortcuts, mouse movements for gamepad control or MIDI, then you can use this this mode to just clean it up from your computer's memory and get done with it. If this setting is enabled, then you can't make use of many of our packages, because the packages require the editor to be running in the background. The idea is that we try to keep the editor core or the editor main application with the native integrations, and under native I mean the gamepad, keyboard, mouse and MIDI things, as lightweight as possible, because if we try to keep the editor core a lightweight software in terms of technology, then we can make sure that it has a relatively nice lifespan. And I mean lifespan that we have to support Intel users with other computers or other Mac computers, for example, or operating systems which were like Windows 10, because it becomes not obsolete, but discontinued by Windows. And in order to keep the editor's core system lightweight and easy to support across the years, we rely on the packages to side load some heavier things into the editor. So for example, the Lightroom or Photoshop or the latest Adobe integrations, we have worked with only the latest versions of Adobe software, and those softwares are usually need a more recent hardware as well. So that was some design decision behind actually splitting some of the parts of the editor core and the packages. I think I drived away from the original question a bit, but behind having the editor open in the background and closed in the background are these concerns. Okay, my cat I think is sleeping, so sorry, I won't disturb her. Let her sleep. It's an old cat. Are there any plans to have more than 4 pages, like 8 pages, for instance? It's a question coming up often, and the short answer is yes. And there are already 1 or 2 profiles which make use of pseudo profiles for the EN16, for example, where you can have like I don't know how many pages, like 16 or so. This was a configuration made by Balint, one of our colleagues on the team, and it makes use of only a single page, and through code changes he can like press one of the encoder buttons in a long press, and then the LEDs go to a different color, if I can remember this correctly, but I might be mistaken, and then you can select the bank or the memory space of that config to reload data and get started. So actually I don't think we will expand this base page functionality which you can use to just cycle through by default. So I think that will be kept on 4, but we will try to make sure that you can have an easier way to do like shift pages or more, or have more pages within a grid page. I don't like these terms. So yeah, you want more controls readily available for you, and more than 4, and make them fast and have like data coming back, and have like pickup values and whatnot. We get this requirement, and we will improve on our profiles to actually give this to people. We often think about grid as a control surface with multiple modules, and if you start to interconnect different modules in different positions, then it gets really hard to decide how to create a profile or how to have these shift layered things, because on one side I believe grid is a very nice one knob per function control surface which you can use and have like just do one thing. But if you have like 1 module or 2 module, then through these pseudo pages or more page combinations, I can understand that people can get more value out of their controllers. And technically it's possible, it just requires coding knowledge and the understanding of how grid works. So we are aware of these kind of requests, and we will improve on our documentation and our get started materials to allow more people to use these features and get started with these. But yeah, the question is legit, and yeah, it often comes up. Okay. Trying to set up EN16 for Ableton 12, would like to use as a control surface for 4 channels and move other active channels with Redbox navigation. How to get started on that? Right now you can't, but I have a possible great news to you, because we are preparing for Superbooth25 in Berlin. This event will happen on the 1st or 2nd week of May. And for that, we will introduce our Ableton control script, which can be configured for the buttons to send a scene start, scene stop, and scene color values, and also have the red session ring, session box controllable within editor. The idea is that, sorry, I don't want to open up right now the coding environment for it, but the idea is that you will be able to like make a preference, make your preference, set your preference to your number of channels and number of scenes you want to control, and assign your modules to this preference. And then you will have like a mapping based on how many modules you have, what kind of modules you have. I'm sure we will make use of the PBF4, the EF44. So this is a Series 2 PBF4, but we will make use of these faders, and same applies for the EF44, and yeah, the buttons, I think, and also the tech units, because that would be cool. But yeah, an Ableton integration is coming, because that's something also highly requested. And finally, we have the infrastructure with the package system to make it happen. So please wait a bit more for the session control thing. I think it will be very cool, and we will introduce that in early May on Superbooth. Okay, Superbooth mention and Superbooth shout out. I will be there for a day or two, although I will be talking mostly to other manufacturers and some business partners in the scene. But yeah, it would be nice to say hello to you as well. If you come to Superbooth, we will be at W275, that's the West Wing or Westflügel, on the venue, and Balint, Greg, and other team members will be there to answer any of your questions and show you the latest developments of Grid in real life, and most developments related for the music scene and audio usage. There will be also the Series 3 modules as I mentioned. You will be able to like get them in your hands. For example, it's not the best to just show it on camera, the differences between these two, but yeah, this is, for example, the Grid Series 3 PBF4 and the Grid Series 2. We are sunsetting, oh sorry, wrong module. So we are sunsetting these very cool buttons. I love them, but we are moving towards these pressure sensitive mechanical switches. Yeah, that's the biggest change basically for between Grid Series 2 and Grid Series 3. I have a couple of modules on me now, so if you have any questions related to Series 2 and Series 3, let me know. And let me take a sip of this coffee because my sound will go away. About the power user mode, I think the current editor is everything. It's just for power. So you can't go directly with code. I mean, you can't like have a single Lua file or something like that and drag and drop it onto the module and be done with it. You could build it on your own, so you can find all of the sources for the protocol parsing and how the editor works in general. If you understand the interaction, if you understand the flow of configuration, you could make your own configuration tool basically. There is like, I think 2 files or 3 in the editor code base which you have to go through and really understand it, and then you can make your own editor version. First you have the control elements itself, and let me change a scene. And yeah, you have your control elements, and then within a control element you have to tell the module which event you want to configure. So for example, on element 6. I want to configure the button event, and for the button event, send down this Lua code and store it on the module. Actually, this Lua code is in this minified format is stored on the module. And yeah, that's it, how the configuration works. We have built some action blocks on top of the code parts of the editor, but I think if you select some of these, merge them, you can already have the API of how Grid works. So you can't, it wasn't built from the ground up to be that loose to have everything in code. We decided to use code to make sure that we can relatively fast and easily implement very nuanced needs of customers and users. Grid was way easier when it started. We didn't really want to make this complicated of a configuration system, but people came up with their experiences coming from different controllers, and we didn't want to make another controller like those controllers, so we designed this system to be truly customizable. But yeah, we always wanted to make sure that there is a path to have UI elements, user interface components, which have a couple of input fields which the customer can configure, and not go 100% into the code part of things, because we don't see that a sustainable way to do this kind of product. But yeah, that's about the power user mode. We actually want to keep this version of editor as editor classic, and actually give the most used features and functions like rehaul and the new UI. But that project is a very large project, and internally we are already discussing how we should plan it out and how we should execute that to make sure that we can bring this experience, the cool controller experience, to more people. Because getting more into code, yes, benefits some, but in the end, this is about creating a cool product which you can interact with, you can touch it, you can plug it in your computer, apply some profiles, and get started with your photo editing work, your audio jamming, recording, mixing, whatever, and not necessarily get into the coding part too much. But I get the power user aspect. I really love the code as well, and I think the Grid ecosystem is a cool way to learn and experiment. Let me see the chat again. HTTP request. Yeah, I can remember the question about HTTP request. For that, I think you would have to create your own editor plugin, and for that we have let's go to the here, let's see, it's a sample plugin sample project. Okay, this was updated way back last year ago, so I wouldn't recommend picking up this project as a basis of your own, but all of the packages which we are working on, let me look up the Discord, for example. All of our packages are Node.js modules, so they are written with JavaScript. You can set up your own tooling if you want to. We kept this rather lightweight, In all of the packages, there is like an index.js where you can use backend or node specific or server specific things. These code snippets are sideloaded to editor, which is an Electron application. And yeah, here we have like a controller API which loads the package and then adds a message port to communicate with the editor itself. So yeah, this is how the Discord part works. And then we have components, and the component is the UI, the front end of the package, which is loaded in the package manager. For example, yeah, this window here is actually written also in JavaScript with the Svelte framework, and this is then exported as a web component to be included here. And to interact with HTTP, I would say that you would create like an HTTP client or server, not even sure which one, as a package. And then you would listen to some package commands coming from your module. For example, to control the Spotify application, I can just come here and do the like action. This is how the UI of the Spotify action looks like. But behind the scenes, this is the package send command. And to the package Spotify, I send an arbitrary looking list of parameters. So for example, here I send the liked commands, and that's it. If you have a more nuanced package, or you need more controls, then you can just add it here, or use like even objects or something like that. Here in this case, this package send command is stored on the module, so it will always send this package Spotify command with the package send function, even if the Spotify package is not activated. So that's behind the scenes how the packages work. And I recommend giving it a try to copy one of our existing packages and see if you can turn them to calling other APIs. And I will make a note that we should update the starter project, which should be like a very simple showcase how you can define your own action for a package, which can be shown within the editor like this, like the Spotify ones, and how you should build the front end for it. Yeah, probably those are the key areas. And how the package itself listens to messages coming from the editor, and how you can send back messages to the editor. Those interfaces have been tested a lot in the past couple months, and we build our own things on these technologies as well. Third-party packages. Yeah, like, yes, we definitely want to support third-party packages. It's already supported, just undocumented, and very happy to help to get you started. We do have, like, as I shown before, on our own GitHub, some of the pieces which you can scrap together and get started. But yeah, we definitely should update this plugin sample project and give a brief description on how you get started with your own, and these can be then shared with the community and get started. Geraton questioned, as I understood, there will be modules with smooth and raster encoders, which you can decide. Can you easily replace them in the future if needed? Our webshop and e-commerce things are going to be renewed very shortly. we are actually sunsetting my own commerce engine, which I have always tinkered with, and get started with a real commerce engine. And with this new commerce platform, we will be able to support more easily product variants, product options, and things like that. And when you will open up the EN16 product page, you will be able to pick either the EN16N version, which is the you will be able to pick like the EN16D version, which is the detent version, or the EN16S version, which is the smooth version. Probably they will be on a very similar price. I mean, I think they will have equal price, because I'm not aware if the different components actually have different pricing brackets, but I will have to confirm this with the team. Yeah, if a new customer wants to buy some EN16 encoder modules from us, then the customer can pick out if either of those which of those options they want. How easy is to change this? So let me see. I have my trusty iFixit. I'm never sure about the what kind of screwdriver do I need. Someone should have started a stopper or a timer. Okay, now a bit of a harder part. I have like these guitar picks from the iFixit setup, and I can use these to pry up the encoders. Yes. Oh, this one is... Oh my god. I use these. Sorry. Okay, I lost one already. Okay, and here we go. So that's what you find inside the EN16 motherboard, and weights added to the module to have more strength, more grip to it. And yeah, this one, I think if you can even hear, this is like an ASMR version. And no, I think it's too little sound. So anyways, I will have to make some more screw driving. I haven't done this for a long time, so I think this would be similar to your experience if you wanted to open up a module. You have 4 screws outside and then 4 screws inside. Now I have to, I think I'm ready with all of the screws. And yeah. So I could pry it up. Here are those two service holes on the center. I will point on it. So let me, sorry, I'm bad at this. A moment. So no, oh fuck, oh. So those, where I point, please camera, those. You can see those two small holes can be used to actually put in the screwdriver and give it a gentle lift. Everything within the grid box is a press fit, so we don't use any gluing anymore. This has been a long journey to get here, but this way we have a replaceable, easily repairable system. And I just opened up the box and removed my motherboard. These motherboards are probably going to retail for 60 USD or something like that. If you go onto our website and check out the motherboards, then you can actually see the pricing for them. Although those prices are for Grid Series 2. So, but yeah, it will be below 100 or something like that for the motherboards themselves. And if somebody wants to change from a rasterized to the, or detent to the smooth version, then you can go onto our web store and buy a different motherboard, unscrew the module, replace the board, and that's it. You can also buy a full new module, but it's also possible to replace the motherboard that way. I do not recommend to solder out the encoders from the motherboard and replace it that way. Although if you are handy, you can also do that. I think there is either a jumper or some kind of setting on the board itself to tell the board that it is a smooth variant or a detent variant, because the encoders have to be handled on the firmware side a bit differently based on its variant. So that's something you should take care of if you decide to actually just solder the elements and change them like that. But all of the parts, I think, can be found on our GitHub too, and yeah, you can check that out for yourself. But that's how you can open up a module. A tiny missing thing can be there, and I think I'm started to glow out with the sun, so not sure if even better. I think this is a bit better. So this is a very tiny piece, which is the map mode button. This comes down to the modules. Oh, look at those magnets. That's cool. So that comes here on the bottom, and you have to be careful with that, not because it breaks, but because it can get onto the a cable. Because it can get under the table, under the board end, and you have a bit harder time to finish this replacement process. Okay, I won't actually reassemble the module, but I could. In modules in earlier versions, they had like a little plastic insert within the encoder knobs. We are injection molding now our own encoder knobs and potentiometer knobs, so it's not the case anymore that you have like little small plastic fragments falling out of your your knobs. We do have these custom made. You could replace them with an off-the-shelf solution, but in that case, you will probably have to insert like a small thing within the knob, because it would scratch the surface of your controllers. Yeah, we are using a bit of a custom height or a rather short height of shafts for the knobs on our modules, so they can be slim and they can look cool. Okay. Okay, thanks a lot. I'm so looking forward to the new buttons. Oh. Yeah, the new buttons, I think they will be very cool for harsh environments. Again, these are some of the new buttons. Let me... Yeah, that one, and also the pam pam pam. Here the Tech 2 variant. These are actually the vanilla colors, but truth be said, I think they are very similar to our existing knob versions, which are these ivory kind of colors. So I think it's a cool match. For Superbooth25, we will be done with like a nightly version or the beta version of the pressure sensitivity for the controllers. So we are working on the API side of things. So within the editor, you can check and react to the how you pressed one of the buttons, and that's in the works, but will come soon. Okay. Do you have any plans for modular designs with 8 encoders, 8 buttons? This was suggested on the Discord. We will see. I'm not sure about new modules yet. We are in the middle of transitioning from Series 2 to Series 3. Probably, I don't even want to bring it up because everybody has its own thoughts and problems with the thing, but tariffs and tariff changes have been a nightmare to navigate lately. And even though we are in the European Union and we haven't been impacted directly by it, we are actively monitoring on the supply chain part of things, because we order many things from China, and we will see if the trade war between the US and China, how it will impact us. And because of this, we really want to put our focus into getting our production up and running for Series 3 to ensure our company can go nicely. But if we have a sense of stability, I think we will definitely open up the options to have either community voting thing or community inspired modular variant. The EF44 with the longer faders. I don't even have one on me, I think. Or do I? No. Sorry. Only earlier versions. Anyway. The EF44 with the longer faders and encoders were done with this idea that we should invite the community and ask them what they want, and yeah, that was how the EF44 was born. So yeah, we are open to new module ideas, but with the introduction of vision with the screen variants, I'm not sure when we will get there. Would it be possible to send data directly over serial instead of MIDI? Like that we should be able to send slip OSC over serial. You can already do that if you are connecting a grid controller to, I think you should be able to do that to actually read in the serial data coming from a grid module, because the editor itself, as I mentioned earlier, in order to, if I come here to the debug monitor and I hit unfreeze, I have to connect a module because I have disassembled my module. Okay, so here, for example, what you can see is basically serial coming in the form of heartbeat messages from the hardware to the software. And whenever I'm interacting with any of my control elements, then with a specific based on the protocol, the values are sent out through USB to the editor, and these details are used then to actually show data for the MIDI monitor part, or show the LED brightness on the editor screen itself. So there is one or two files on the editor repository. If you write on Discord, then I can share it with you which one I'm thinking about, which describes how we are parsing the incoming serial data. There is like a broadcast header, and which says what kind of module is it, where the module is, like the position relative to the USB connected module, and then the channel, the settings and whatnot. So I think you are able to use serial that way already, but yeah, it has to be confirmed with a separate serial sniffer or a tool like that. As for OSC, we want to discover that idea some more. There were internal talks about creating a new NOT. NOT is like a connection tool which we made to bridge the gap between the analog and digital world of MIDI with that USB host device. And we really like NOT and its form factor. It's very direct, and yeah, it's a cool product in my opinion. And that idea could be nicely applied to like a little wireless box to support like Wi-Fi connection, Bluetooth connection, to actually translate the USB MIDI data or USB data to OSC, or even have an Ethernet port on a not sized or a similarly sized product. But also I have been seeing use cases for game development, like Unreal Engine or Unity, and within those applications sometimes it's okay to use MIDI, but for example, for changing the environment settings like wind or physics aspects, or the brightness from the sun or the sun position, something like that, those parameters can get very nuanced or very sensitive, and for that often an OSC integration would be helpful. So in the form of a package or an integration after the Ableton integration for Superbooth, I think we will do something to do about that, because although not many people, some say that it's interesting, and I also see it interesting, but have to find the time to actually schedule it and make a project out of it. The Lightroom package uses WebSockets for communication, so that would be an interesting one for you to investigate. Yes, the Lightroom uses WebSocket, but yeah, it uses WebSocket. Also, the Photoshop version uses WebSocket too, and even the Ableton integration will use an UDP socket, I think. So that's also interesting to check out. Although the Adobe integration is done with a package made for a different Ableton controlling application, so that's a bit more abstracted away. Thanks for the encoder. Is it hard to press the encoders on the EN16? How would I describe it? The problem is I just take apart my EN16. How would I describe pressing an EN16? It's hard. I mean, if I had to press it for a lot of things, then pressing, for example, the new encoders feels to me a tiny bit harder than the Grid Series 2 encoders. So for example, the Grid, let me come to the other scene. So this is a Series 2 module, although looks very similar to the Series 3, and I think it's a bit easier to press down than the Grid Series 3 version, but honestly, not a big of a difference between the encoders, at least. One of the key things or key concerns were to us when we decided to use these new key switches is that with these key switches we have the option to give the option for customers to use silent versions, because in certain audio recording environments or in theaters or other places and spaces where you need a very low volume and very still control element, then the earlier version of the BU16 was very loud. I think even you can hear how I'm playing with this BU16, and even the new ones have a bit deeper sound and aren't that loud. And even these can be changed to a silent version based on the MX Cherry kind of sizing, or at least that's for the top, because yeah, I don't want to pry it too much, but maybe I can, and I can, and the sun went away. Let me get back the sun. It's so dark in here. It's hard to do streaming with natural light, so that's another thing. I think you can see here that there is the little key switch sitting inside the box. Without removing the front panel, it's hard to replace it, but yeah, you can remove the front panel and replace the key switch without any soldering. So that's something those people who are using them in more still environments can benefit from. Okay. So yeah, another thing that while we have been developing the integrations for Photoshop, for example, or for photo editing workflows, in those cases both me and other team members reported that the original BU16 became a bit tiresome after a while, like a couple hours of usage, that it's harder to press these buttons on this module on the Grid Series 2 BU16 than the new key switches. People are more accustomed to the keyboard type of typing and the keyboard kind of switches, and for the long run it's a more comfortable way to control often used parameters. I have been using the BU16 for music workflows. For that area I really liked them because they have like razor sharp actuation, and you really know when you launched something and you turned off something, you really know that you have pressed it and it's okay. But I often used it in a more performance way, and many people, as I have read and so, use it in a similar fashion where you will apply more force anyway, and in those use cases it's fine to have like a stronger click, but for a daily worker, a daily driver of a device, it's more comfortable to have the key switches, or even have the option to change the key switches. So I think this will be very nice, and especially with the pressure sensitivity. I'm looking forward to what we and what the community can bring out of the key switches and these new options coming to Grid. The Sleep OS C integration. Yeah, unfortunately I'm not familiar enough with that space. We have to dig into that one. Okay, I think I didn't show you some developments with the screen, and I will do that now after a bit of a coffee break, and finding actually my profile to do that. So 2 minutes tops, and we will get to the screen, how that currently looks like, and what our plans are to make it nicely configurable. I made a nice mess with this disassembly. Okay, let me use this one. Yes, vision. Vision, what do I have here for vision? Okay. Okay, this is actually great. Moments, because actually Balint created a very nice demo, but I will have to find it. I will also have to get a mic stand and a pop filter. Sorry for missing one. Maybe log out, log in. Let me look up our vision configurations. Okay, selective rendering. Vision London. Which is it? Left, screen on the left. Okay, I don't have actually, how should I do this? Probably, yeah, changing of the format. Probably not the smartest idea to move the camera like this, but I don't have any hot shoe mounts on me. And sorry for making a mess of my sound as well, but let's see what I can show you with the vision up close. After all, we are here, and a couple moments. Okay, so here we are with the vision, and this is like the Capture One demo. Please focus. Okay, so this is what is on the screen right now. I am very sorry that my hand is shaking. Okay, so it's like 2 rows, 2 by 4. And that's exposure, contrast, brightness, saturation, and so on. We are using now a monospace font, Space Mono, I think, actually the font family. We have a small title, Capture One demo, and this 2 by 4 represents the 2 by 4 buttons. The goal of this configuration, for example, is to control within the Capture One photo editing software some of these key develop parameters. And what I can do here is this is like a base menu, which then you can change to show different parts. I can select the exposure part, and if I'm moving my controller, then it will send out the exposure commands to the software. If I come here, then I can do the contrast. If I don't interact with it for some time, a timer runs and the original menu will come back. So I can go over some of these key parameters, but if I just press it again, I come back to the default menu. Yeah, I'm taking a bit of my breath here because this is the most uncomfortable way to show something, but my peers and me also will be involved in a lot of demo showcases for the screen configurations. Unfortunately, not even unfortunately, but yeah, let me show you again. So here we have a default menu where, let me go back here. Just focus hunting. Okay, so here we have the 2 by 4 for the buttons, and then based on whatever I'm interacting with, a different setting, a text will be shown on the screen, and I can do my adjustments. Let me look up another configuration. Oh, and I even messed this up. Sorry, wrong scene. Jesus, streaming is not my strength, it seems. Sorry. Okay, so again, capture 1, 2x4, and whatever I'm interacting with, it will change the screen text. And I can get back to the primary menu system. So those 2x4 values are basically for capture 1 in this case, as I mentioned. But yeah, I think in this small part you can grasp the idea. Okay, and let me put down the camera a bit. Okay. Oh. Okay. Just a moment. I'm looking up a different configuration. Okay. Let me see. I will need this EN16, I think. And I will need, in my opinion, a configuration for this module. But maybe not, but I will get back to the original position because this is not good. Again, a cable. Okay, I already have a couple ideas how to improve this setup and setting, so I hope it's not too annoying. I'm very sorry, everyone. I should have asked from my colleagues about a bit of a rundown what to expect here. Two moments. Okay, this is out of question now. Then let me show you my own configuration. Let me see if let's put this here. Oh, cool. So two parts. As you are probably aware of it, we are first into nailing down the API of the configurations. So how the vision screen can be configured through the select Lua APIs, and after that we nailed down a couple of cool ways to actually send some information out to this screen. We are going to introduce a couple action blocks which you can configure or pick from. What I have been experimenting with is, let me show you first here, is to, let me activate it. So here, for example, I have 2 pixel arts. One is a blade, the other one is a scissor. Yeah, I'm not the best artist ever, but these are the 2 things I created. They have slightly different size. My plan is to also add a bit of a text beneath each of these elements, but you can really get the feeling of it that this is like a 2 by 3, but this could be also 2 by 4, like in the previous config for the capture one. And yeah, my idea is that people could be able to get some icons, pixelated pieces, and assigned them to a specific position on a grid. And these could be used as an identification of actually what of the buttons do or what of the small buttons do under the screen. And the code so far, how I structured this, was trying to be rather simple. Although yeah, it's code, but I think we could have a rather easy time to translate this to an action block. And it looks like this. I think I will try to zoom in more. Okay, so this is configured under the endless button, because if I press this button, it will clear everything from the screen, and if I press this, it will introduce it again. And these are my helper functions. These help me define my little icons. These are from these are like 2 simple arrays with the X and Y coordinates of pixels. I add them to an array, or in this case a list, and I'm drawing these out with random colors. The last parameter here is the size, and these 2 parameters are the position within these cells where I want to set them. And then I also have like this grid drawn out on the screen. I can make it like 1 by 4. Now it looks like this. This is my 1 by 4 cells. But in this case, you could have seen that some of my little icons are out of space. So I have to come in here and tell them to move to the correct position. And let's get back to the first scene and come here, reset, and press. And we have those little icons aligned. This kind of thing doesn't seem much, but it gets us very close to actually position things on the screen, because that's probably the most important thing. Once you know that you want to write to a specific place which have a certain size, or you want to show and have some detail on the screen, the next question is, okay, where will that be rendered? So I have been working on these little demos and showcases how certain icons could be shown on the screen, for example. So that's my two demo I could show you right now. One of them was this capture one, and the other one was for this positioning. And I think Barney or Shabu is working on the Lightroom and Photoshop showcase for vision. And within Lightroom, we designed like a very small raw data and metadata showcase for the screen. And you were able to see the star rating, the f-stop, the exposure, and some key data for the given image you selected. And then you could have like a small detail about what you're actually editing, or what's the name of it, or what's the rating of it, and have like a small feedback on what's going on. That was cool, and for that I would need their profile, which I don't have on my computer. So yeah, I have been into this positioning thing to have pixelated smaller icons on the vision screen. Let me show you this version again for you. The size also is a bit different in this case for those. So if I come here to my implementation, then I can say that have all of them the same size, but make them instead size 3. Also, I will change again the grid. I won't. Here again a small reset, and here we are. Now they are equally paced and sized. And yeah, my plan is to add more such alignments, and you can have your namings and values set up that way. We are going to use monospace fonts for most of our small snippets and integrations, because that's the easiest to align in a grid like this or on the vision screen. Okay. Will there be an OLED screen in the future? I don't think so. We have evaluated many different screen versions, and I think OLED looks nice. It's great, but it also draws more power than these LCD screens. And we want to make sure that we keep grid controllers on a rather low power consumption, if that makes sense. Some people use the modules in a portable manner, so with only a laptop, with only a power bank, even for DAW-less and synthesizer setups. And for those cases, we want to keep power consumption rather low. Lately, we have done tests to see how many vision modules and how many grid modules can be connected through a single USB cable. We have been advertising grid that you can control like 8 modules through a single USB connection, and only above that is recommended to plug in any of the other modules through a phone charger. So there is that. And we measured that you can still be able to use 8 modules to work with grid and work with a single USB cable until you have to add in another phone charger. So for OLED, I think mainly the power consumption perspective is the thing why we won't pursue that. Also, these screens have rather nice viewing angles. I think in certain computer-less or even in outdoor conditions, or yeah, in bad lighting, it's good to have the viewing angles of these tiny screens. I can't really show that right now with this stream setup, but we will make videos about it in the future anyway, so I think that will speak for itself. Let me get back the zoom there and back to your questions. There was a question about the development of Series 3, and I will continue with that one. The development of Grid Series 3. Let me get my camera better. I was so annoyed by its angle. It's still bad, but better. So the development of Grid Series 3 is finished when it comes to the prototyping phase, except the firmware for the mechanical switches, because right now in our internal tests and when we showcase them, we use them like simple momentary buttons where it's either pressed or not. So we weren't utilizing the control element's nature, that it can be used to detect the pressure of the element. But that's something our firmware engineers are working on right now. The electrical circuitry is there to support this, but we still have to figure out the firmware part. So the software still needs tweaking to make sure that the Series 3 modules will be fine. But other than that, the hardware itself has been sent to production, and we are awaiting for the new Grid Series 3 boards, and those should be with us probably in May. Probably, yes, some of them in May and some of them later. We could call a couple more Grid Series 2 units from our manufacturing partners, so probably we will tweak how the sale will go out and how we will onboard our retail partners within the sale and things like that. But yeah, Series 2 is going to be sunsetted, although supported, so we will continue to support them within the editor, within the package system. They will be fully functional and won't be dropped from the firmware updates and the editor updates. But Grid Series 3 with the new encoder variants, the new metal potentiometers, and the new mechanical key switches and the vision with the screen are coming. So I would say development is hardware side cool, done, firmware side still some work, but it will come together, and we don't see any obstacle in the shipping schedule we mentioned on the Kickstarter campaign. By our current plans, we are going to do a pilot program in May after Superbooth, and in the pilot program we will send out between 20 and 50 vision modules to customers. We are going to target the probably the more power users who are down to get dirty with the API, how it is now, the coding part of things, and we will probably share first with these kind of people the units and take them into the pilot program. But shortly after, we may do some improvements based on their input, but probably we will continue with our schedule and start shipping the Kickstarter campaign units and Grid Series 3 as originally promised. I might say something dumb here, but I think we are okay with the timelines as we are now. Of course, new tariff changes, Chinese holidays, everything can can change from one day to another, but so far we didn't saw the need to announce publicly on all our channels that there will be some extra delay in Series 3. It will be a matter of weeks, I believe. I mean, even if there is a delay, that will be in the matter of weeks instead of months and half a year or something like that. So we are on track with these developments, although there are always changes. So that's about hardware development in short. Will there be spare screens as repair parts? Very nice question. As we are transitioning from the aluminum front panels to fiberglass or aluminum made with different manufacturing solutions, but possibly fiberglass front panels, we will utilize this feature to come up with more custom panels. So these ones are for our MIDI grade bundle made in collaboration with Julius, who is the developer behind MIDI grade. It's a bit hard to see in these lighting conditions, but yeah, it will be relatively straightforward for us to do like a community organized drop and bulk purchase for custom front panels. And I'm starting with the front panels because most, if not all of our key components will be listed on the web shop very soon. So right now, if you go to the Intech Studio shop, you can see the fully assembled modules, which are our primary products and primary drivers of this business. You can see there are the motherboards, the base and the interface boards, but we are going to list their separate front panels and also the knobs and knobs, fader caps, and screens if the need for the repair arises. So we want to make sure that we keep this right to repair mentality going on, and to provide the necessary tools and components to make self-repairs for the new modules as well. So yeah, screens should come, but I will have a note on that one too. Okay, noted. Will there be Vision 1 available in two versions, left side screen and right side screen? Very cool question. So for example, here we have the left side screen and right size screen versions, sorry. And this is how it looks like if you switch it over. Or even this way. And this is not all, because we are going to introduce and actually make it to pre-orders a module with two screens, because yeah, dual screen is very cool. I love it, and I think it will be a cool addition beside these options. And yes, you know, the originally Tech 2 unit is also renewed with these switches, and yeah, those modules are all new, and these will be seen as new variants. The dual screen module should be coming online with our Superbooth attendance in early May. So I think that will be cool as well, but the dual screen version comes at a later date definitely than the originally announced two variants, like the Vision Left and Vision Right, because that module still needs more development work, and we still have to nail down some of the use cases for it. So that's also the part that why we announced only the left and right variant of Vision screen units on the Kickstarter campaign, because these two type of modules are the ones where we are confident that we can deliver a nice product. For the two screens, how those are handled, we still need more development work done, to do, so that will be announced at a bit later date, probably early May, and the availability of it will be announced there as well. So that's for left and right. Hello Peter. So will it be somehow possible to display device values on the screen from Ableton devices? Yes, I think this will be also part of our presentation for Superbooth25. For Superbooth, we are going to bring the grid version 3 modules, so all of the new mechanical switches, the new encoder variants. So yeah, we will make sure that there is a lot of demo and showcase videos about all the new things we are bringing out. And for that event, we are going to launch, or at least showcase, the Ableton integration which we have been working on. The Ableton integration will be able to control the red session ring, which is familiar for many people coming from different MIDI controllers to grid. And the red session ring will be able to get like some of the session parts of Ableton and get data from those selected areas back to the editor and potentially back to the module. So yeah, I really want to take the original Blue Hand script idea, where you select a device and you get automatic assignments for the device parameters based on the default control script, to get that kind of control experience to the next level by using an Ableton integration, which can send out the currently selected track or device parameters values to the unit, and also some key parameters which you choose to show on the module screen. So yeah, for the screen, we will probably by default do configurations and things which are automatically reacting to module settings, at least in the MIDI world, if that makes sense. So for example, if you have like a configuration like this, then on the screen we would show like a 4 by 3 grid with the MIDI CC values of the elements of this module, and that would be like a default thing to actually read in the CC values and or the channel values of another module through this screen. And beside that, if we you can already, for example, name some of your control elements within the editor. This is a rather hidden thing, but it's cool. So if I plug in my module, it's now the vision. Yeah, in the editor, the buttons are still identified as regular buttons, but these will be changed to be mechanical key switches in the future, so it will look differently a bit. And what did I want to show you? Yeah, there is in the top right corner the element name overlay thing, and what this does is if I come here and choose the element name action block, I can actually name this control button or whatever. And here it will say to me that it's frequency. And it's very easy to do, like a screen configuration which can read in and show these overlay settings, for example, applied to a control element. Also, since I don't know when, half a year or so, or even a year or so, we have introduced cross-module communication. So actually a module here can send data to there and vice versa. So you can send configurations across modules. And this also means that the screen unit can ask another module what their settings is, and the screen can then show that setting, either in the form of a simple value readout, like the setting is CC7 with value 100, or type out the element name as well, or put this into a little dial, like very commonly showcase dial in software like Touch Designer, for example. Not Touch Designer, sorry, Touch OSC images. I love this software. So not so detailed control parts. Let me come here. So yeah, this is a Touch OSC where you can build custom control surfaces, and yeah, we also plan to have like lo-fi, very focused visualization for parameters like a fader value or a potentiometer value. And here is a firmware mismatch. Yes, I think I will just wrap this up with one more demonstration of the package system, which I have been working on, the Photoshop integration. That one is more mature than the previously shown Lightroom variant. I will go ahead and clear the module, close the overlay as well, and go to Package Manager. I will turn off Spotify for now and activate Photoshop package. It's already connected because I have Photoshop open in the background. I think that's why it's already connected. Let me just do something here. Very nice. I have a very simple Photoshop thing going on, and I'm getting too much sun again. A moment. Okay, here we go with the Photoshop package. Get back to the editor. So here this package is much more nuanced and worked out than the previously shown Lightroom, which is literally just showing if it's connected or not. And here I can quickly look up the contents of the Photoshop package, which has this CCX file, which is responsible to receive the messages from the editor and execute things coming from the editor. This is already installed and works, so I won't do that again. And what I have here is two very cool settings, or even three. One of them is to run actions when Photoshop is in focus, so you only do execute things and controls when you interact with your module when you are working in Photoshop. If you have multiple applications open and multiple applications could react to some kind of control that could cause problems, so some package control things will be limited this way. And what we have here is enable overlay for Photoshop commands. This was just a demonstration what this technology is capable of. You will see it shortly, but we really like this and probably will use it for way more things when it comes to integrations and to show you where you are currently with your tools and controls. And let me make a quick configuration. Again, we are coming from an audio background. We have a lot of details to support the default audio setup, but we don't need so many things. We can remove MIDI, we can remove these channel and CC assignments. We only need the index of the element and the encoder value of the element. And then I have these new Photoshop action blocks because the Photoshop package is activated, and I just want to show you how the tool parameter can be controlled and its size. This is an encoder control element, so I could use relative mode, but I'm just going to keep it as is in absolute mode and come over to Photoshop. And already if I'm turning my encoder, I can see that my little cursor is changing with the size of the Photoshop parameter. So it's a really straightforward setup, but for this use case we will also make sure that we create a lot of profiles and presets to choose from to get started even faster, even easier. And yeah, also you have just so that on my screen I have like this message that says set size to 91. It's not that user friendly, but we will change the wording, but it's cool to see what you are actually controlling. And then what can I set here? Come to the following element. I'm clearing these two because I just don't need that. Delete MIDI 2. I could keep it there, but why? Opacity, store, come back, and now I'm controlling the opacity as well. Coming down, size, and the opacity. Yeah, and basically that's it. You activate a package, you install the thing the package needs. If it has a plugin counterpart, then the package will help you probably in installing that plugin counterpart, and you will get access to the action blocks, and you can build out your own configuration based on these little details given to you by editor and the grid configuration system. But we are working on the profile and let me see if there is already some photo thing, but I don't think so, or at least that's hidden for now. We will make sure to provide many starting points for people to get started with these integrations as well, because in the MIDI world you have rather fast plug and play experience, and we want to do the same for the editors as well. Directly integrated and snappable grids, PoE, Internet, Wi-Fi module would be cool. especially now with displays. It would be easy to show, configure the grid to receive, send OSC directly. Yes, that would be cool. We want to keep grid again, no light. I'm now yellow, but yeah, next time I will make sure to bring my lights home. And yeah, so two things. We try to keep grid as a control system relatively simple. I mean the hardware part. Many things of these modules share behind the scenes, including the primary main circuit board. And if we were adding some additional Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and whatnot modules, then given that grid by itself is trying to be a modular control surface which you can rearrange, even use it without a computer and things like that, I think we would require a lot of development power and experience to get sorted every little edge case which a new kind of feature set would bring to not only one module but to the whole control surface in general, like handle the amount of new messages handled by the grid protocol, which is running through these magnetic pins, and everything is custom developed from the firmware perspective. So for bridging new areas, I think we would pursue the path of a separate device like the NOT USB MIDI host, which I mentioned earlier on the stream, that keep grid focused on data feedback and data control instead of hosting things, if that makes sense. So instead of actually letting more things communicate with it. I may be contradictory here because we already support like many HID USB class protocols, but if we were looking at wireless things, I think we would rather experiment with a separate kind of little gadget device like the NOT USB host, instead of integrating it as a module. But we will see. The ideas is nice, but not sure how it will evolve. Yeah, and the second part of your idea, Tomber, is would be easy to show, configure the grid to receive, send OSC directly. This for Superbooth25, again, that's an important event for us. Make sure you will follow us through socials and whatnot, or come to Berlin and check out the modules in person. Probably there will be a little showcase where the modules will be able to be configured without the editor and the computer. So something new is coming to Grid, and I'm not telling more because Superbooth will be the thing where we announce that thing. But yeah, something is coming, something cool, and something about on-module configurations. So that will be nice. Okay, last minute question. What are the tiny buttons? Tiny buttons. Let me go to the camera. Please, camera. Tiny buttons. Those are 4 tiny buttons. Right now they are 3D printed, but we want to have them injection molded too someday. The tiny buttons are basically buttons, and that's it. takt switches. If I open up the editor and go to my other scene, okay, here I can click and select any of those tiny buttons, and they will have a setup, a button, and a timer event. So the small buttons can be configured like any of the buttons on the module, and we planned to use these to change the default screen configurations. So they are positioned very close to the screen. So yeah, they are just under the screen, and we plan to use them to recall key parts for the screen, or make them like a pseudo profile changer or something like that. We thought that the screen should have some other control elements beside these primary buttons, because I often find myself in that mindset that it's so nice that I have like 8 channel of controls or yeah, so a nice set of a multiple of 4 controls on my modules, and I don't want to sacrifice one of the buttons for a shift function or something else. And I don't really want to get into long press or some trickery to achieve shift functions. And for that, these tiny extra buttons can come in handy to access something which is only occasionally accessed, but not primarily. And you can keep your one knob per function, one button per function setup with your module in general, and then use these small buttons for unique needs or separate needs. But the configuration is really the same as any normal buttons on Grid. At least the current buttons, because they are like the takt switches and not pressure sensitive like the new ones are becoming too. Okay, we got your small buttons. Yeah, they have a small clicky sound, and that's why what they can do. Okay, screen. Motorized faders would be nice. Yes, motorized faders. Yes, that would be nice. I will be honest with you. I would love to see motorized faders as well, but they draw a lot of power, so that's something we have to take into consideration, and they are big. So Grid modules are like a nice companion to your MacBook or a smaller computer, and even mobile devices. They have this very compact size, and that's something many people love about them, me included. And introducing motorized faders would need some changes to the overall design of the modules, probably. Or we grow big enough, and as a bigger company, we can spend more on R&D for a custom component which fits this small device. And yeah, that's something I dream of, but we will see if it becomes feasible and possible. Yeah, also motorized fader is cool, but what we already identified, that it's important to figure out value scaling and value pickup for all of our absolute control elements, and that is something I have been working on with the firmware guys to have like correct analog value pickup and value scaling modes for the modules. So when you get MIDI input from outside, from Ableton, from another software, or you just change a page or change a pseudo bank for your controllers, then you slowly scale to the previous value instead of doing the hard cut and going from the other way. So we want to make sure that value scaling and value pickup modes are properly introduced to Grid and be supported on the firmware side for the modules, because you can already implement it with the coding environment of Grid, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of characters, so that's not feasible for most. But yeah, value scaling first, and if it's still very much needed to have the motorized fader thing, we will see. But right now we don't see it that possible. So will it be possible to manage native protocols like CC change on the modules directly from Vision One in the future? Yes, probably, with a lot of work, and that's something we will touch on Superbooth25. So keep an eye out on our news for Superbooth25. Have you guys considered adding like a joystick module? I have to touch a nice joystick, honestly, because of course Sony and so many of the large makers have some nice joysticks, but I have only felt like cheap and shitty joysticks. I think it could fit the Grid design as well, although it's a bit more interesting. Let me close the window because it's raining. So joystick is something we have been thinking about, but it wasn't really put into the priority list ever, because first we wanted to have these larger jog wheels with the Tech 2 and then the Vision, then the screen unit, which is like a screen is essential, and that will play a huge part in Grid moving forward. And beside the screen we have been experimenting with an XY pad and like a mouse trackpad kind of module, but those developments happened while COVID and supply chain issues hit the world and our company as well, so we put that away in a box and didn't continue with it. I think in the foreseeable future, like in the next year, we will double down our development efforts on Vision, on the screen, on integrations with both photo and videography software, as well as audio stuff. I'm using now OBS for this stream, and I really want to next time like control part of it with the Grid module, but just couldn't find the time to actually set it up properly, but that will come as well. Maybe we will do an OBS integration. But I think we have made a lot of cool progress in the past year or so, as we learned throughout the development phases of these products, and we made a lot of half-assed solutions, especially in the editor. And I want to make sure that before moving forward and making something new, we take our time and fix some stability concerns and simply assess what we have because we have very nice tools. We have a very cool software already. We have all of those development hours, commits, pull requests, code reviews, everything went into what we have today. But based on user feedback and based on our own feelings, we should really take a bit of time, step back, polish it out, and after a bit of polishment, move forward. So opening up development of a new module would happen, I think, only after... is there a cat in the background? Yeah, the cat is finally there. Yeah, there is the cat. She was the centerpiece attraction for the thumbnail of this stream. Yeah, it's a old foster cat. Doesn't have a tail, can't hear, so it's deaf and white. But it's cute. We love her. Okay, cat pose. What was I talking about? Yeah, editor is cool, but we will make sure to make it even more cooler and double down on vision, the screen variants, the mechanical key switches, introduce more customization options with the new fiberglass front panels. So that's where our aim will be, and the focus will be probably in the next half a year or so. But of course, next year, maybe a new module, who knows. Yeah, weather in Budapest is crazy today. I think it was, you probably heard some white noise in the background that was like, I think it's ice, not sure. MIDI grid integration really convinced me to jump on board of the grid. Yeah, we have to put a bit more effort into the MIDI grid integration. I will get in touch with Julius and see if he sees potential in the Vision module and expand his tool with the new Vision module, because DaVinci Control is a highly requested thing, although it's a bit hacky, and I don't like the fact that you don't have an open API to control DaVinci, and you can only use the screen recording mouse overlay things and work like that instead of with the tools like you have with Adobe and yeah. I have a cat. I know there are people who care about independent MIDI changes without using any drivers, and the application glad to introduce it at Superbooth. Yeah, we are aware of that as well. So a lot of effort went into making grid driverless, like many desktop accessory products on the market need some kind of driver or background running application to be working as a MIDI controller, and we are very proud that our controllers are plug and play MIDI devices, and we can even make this more interesting by for some use cases avoiding the editor or making more steps into the DAW-less world or the computer application-less world. We don't want to go like 100% that way, because we see our path in a modern creative approach where customers sometimes go into the audio editing world as a hobby, or going to like coding as a hobby, or going to photo video editing and do a bit of everything. So that's what we want to support, but also for some areas we want to double down on some more professional or more streamlined workflows which should just work and be great and be useful. But yeah, using grid without computer is also something very viable, because the hardware itself was developed with that in mind. And sometimes we take this computerless approach more serious. Sometimes we put more effort into the software part. Now we do everything at the same time. But yeah, that's how things are now. Okay. Yeah, thanks Hybrid and others for the questions and for the kind words. I think as the cat arrived, not sure if you can see her, she's in my lap, I'm wrapping this up, and I will write down my learnings from this stream. Probably I will try to get a second camera to get like a top-down view when like LED changes and screen changes and things like that should be showcased. I think already these small changes to have the editor and the coding part or my screen itself open versus direct view is cool, but we can do this better. And I enjoy talking with you all, and it's great to reflect on things which we do and hear your thoughts and ideas, if actually our work is beneficial to you in any way. So it's great to interact with you, and we should do this more often. So as a parting note, do you think the Grid BU16 could be turned into a step sequencer MIDI? Yes, it can be turned into that. We do have actually generative sequence profiles for the BU16 already, because Balint has been using the BU16 with Norns. With Norns, and the Norns is like a very cool standalone Raspberry based or Teensy based, not even sure, but it's a small computer which can run scenes patches and audio patches, and you can add some MIDI input and even a MIDI controller, USB MIDI controller to controlling noise. And in that use case, we have like he made like a generative patch which changes chords, and you can interact with some of the buttons to change the note of the patch, and yeah, that's what you can check out for the BU16. I think the name of it, let me look it up. Let's change a scene shortly. This module has a mismatching firmware. It's too red for my taste. Okay, let me just refresh this. Sec. Yes, this is like the Gensec 8 BU16, 8-step MIDI sequencer with step mutes and random note pitch quantization. Here is the vault description, how it works, and yeah, that's something you can check out for the BU16. It heavily utilizes the timer event. On Grid, there is a small timer event which you can trigger, and there you can periodically run things, and on the timer you can read in value from other control elements, and based on that send out MIDI or other data to your target software. So Gensec 8 for BU16, check it out. Yeah, top-down camera is nice. Yeah. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining me, and maybe we should try to do this monthly or something like that. Again, thanks for your questions, and see you in the next video or next stream. If you have any concerns, questions, anything, reach us at support@Intech.studio. That's our official support channel. Me, Balint, and Greg can help you there, or use our Discord channel, which is more active by the day. So you have here all kinds of interactions. And also for longer format discussions, we do have our forum, and you can interact with us there too. For the forum, you can use the very same login credentials like through our web shop and e-commerce site. So yeah, join the discussion, join us how to make a very nice control surface for anything, but primarily music making, audio editing, photo editing, and later on video editing and everything in between. So we want to control everything, but with a bit of focus here and there. Okay, thanks, and